It's time to stop swallowing that blue pill of corporate manipulation and remove the blindfold to a world not fabricated and mind-controlled by the media.
Enter a world of the twisted and deformed.
Step into the light. Discover the truth. It's time for a reality check.
Reality check. Reality check. Reality check. This isn't something you need to be afraid of.
Now, two of the most controversial views of the paranormal as well as conspiracies you'll ever hear. The hosts of Reality Check, Jessica Johns and Joey Mirabella.
All right, good evening, folks. My name is Joey Mirabella, and I am here with my co-host, Jessica Johns.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Ooh, very exciting episode we have for you today on Reality Check. That's right, tonight we are going to be getting into the true origins behind some of your beloved holidays.
Prepare to be scarred for life.
Very scarred, yeah. I don't recommend this for children, but this
man.
I want to get it out there right now. Everything we are talking about tonight is 110% fact checkable. This is all in history. You look for the information. We're not making any of this up. This is all real. It's just been fabricated over hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, thousands of years, to seem like something it's really not. And we're going to go into Easter, the Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, Christmas. It's going to be slightly religious, but we're not really religious icons in any way. Just to put that out there. I did grow up celebrating these holidays.
Me too.
And
big time. I'm actually celebrating Lent right now.
There you go. Yes. Jess, what did you give up for Lent again?
Red meat, because
red meat.
I can't continue to give up soda, fast food, and pizza because I just quit eating those altogether. So
there you go.
That's cheating.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But the point is, like, we grew up celebrating these holidays, and when I found out a lot of where they came from, it was pretty chilling to me to learn about how we don't know the reality. The reality check we're going to give you.
I'm so glad.
So
our show.
I'm gonna start here.
We're gonna just dive right in right now because it's a lot.
There is a guy that really gives a lot of information on this. He's a pastor. I have some more info on him that I'll give later, but he does this thing on these videos. He does some on YouTube. His name is Jim Staley, and he gives a lot of this information out. It's really, really good, and it's about early Christian practices and Hebrew practices, the beginnings of religion here, of where this stuff comes from, and he even talks about where the real roots come from. And it's something from they took something from Barna Group, which is an evangelical Christian polling firm that's in Ventura, California. And this is a really good quote because this explains why it's so hard for people to take away the beliefs they have and then try to adapt to new ones that really have shown that it's proving what they believe to be wrong. And, you know, no one wants to be wrong. I know I don't. But this explains it a little bit. And it's the problem facing the Christian church is not that people lack a complete set of beliefs. The problem is that they have a full slate of beliefs in mind which they think are consistent with biblical teachings, and they are neither open to being proven wrong nor to learning new insights. It may well be that spiritual evaluation is so uncommon because people fear that the results might suggest the need for different growth strategies or for more aggressive engagement in the growth process. No matter what the underlying reason is, the bottom line among both the clergy and the laity was indifference toward their acknowledged lack of evaluation, which is huge. Consider that as we go through the rest of this episode to open your minds up and understand that just because you're hearing something over and over and over again doesn't mean that it's really true. It does not mean that. In fact, I could take a quote from the terrible dictator Hitler, who said, if you tell a lie loud enough and long enough, eventually the people will believe it to be the truth. And as you all know, he did some terrible things by getting people to believe in what he did. And, you know, just throwing that out there. And we're going to go right into Easter. Why don't we start with Nimrod? Jess, I'm going to let you take it from here for a little bit.
Okay, so Nimrod, he was the great-grandson of Noah. He was the king of the then-known world, responsible for building the cities of Babel, the Tower of Babel, and the city of Nineveh. He married a woman named Semiramis. And Nimrod and Semiramis became king and queen of the then-known world. And then Nimrod became deified and was made the sun god, which he then became Baal. Baal ruled the universe as the sun god, and this is according to like Babylonian legend. Okay, so Semiramis gets pregnant by the rays of the sun of her deceased husband Nimrod. Semiramis gives birth to a baby boy named Tamus, and for 40 years
Tammuz.
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 Okay, so you're right. That's my bad because I've been saying that all day and I don't know why I said.
I don't know either. You were saying it right
I
earlier.
was saying it all day. So for 40 years, he was a hunter and took his father's place as the ruler of the universe. And he had tremendous power, but he was killed in his 40th year by a wild boar. So to commemorate, they set aside 40 days before Easter, and they would fast and pray and have a giant feast on Easter Sunday, which then they would then celebrate the death and resurrection of Tammuz by eating ham.
Killing a boar in honor of the boar that killed him.
Right. So Semiramis dies and gets sent to heaven, but Baal isn't ready for her, so he sends her back down to earth in a giant egg, and it exploded in the Euphrates River. The first thing she did was she healed a wounded bird and turned it into an egg-laying rabbit.
Yes.
Okay.
Very significant there, an egg-laying rabbit.
So, because the eggs were a symbol of fertility. So, then they have a baby. No. So then Tammuz then marries Ishtar. Am I getting ahead of myself?
Little bit, and that's not. Okay. Let me
Well,
clarify a
that's a little
couple.
bit. Okay.
Let me clarify a couple of things Jess was saying. First of all, Nimrod as Baal. This is mentioned in the actual Bible, the original Hebrew Bible. These names are in the Bible. Okay, and they were also in history, and this era of history we're talking about is 2000 to 2300 BC, somewhere around there. It's during the end of the Bronze Age. Okay, and the land of Nimrod is also known as Assyria or Mesopotamia, and it also means the ability to deceive. So he marries Semiramis. Nimrod dies. We got that down. Impregnated by the rays of the sun, and this is where it gets really messed up because Tammuz marries his own mother. Okay, that's what happens. Tammuz marries his mother, Semiramis, because Tammuz is young. You're giving me this look, Jazz. It's throwing me all off. But Tammuz marries his own mother, which is disgusting and sick, but that's what happened, okay? Because when Semiramis is impregnated by the rays of the sun after the god Baal died, okay, they have this son Tammuz. Tammuz marries his own mother.
Where did Ishtar come from?
Same
person?
We'll get through that.
Okay.
Baby Tammuz and his mother, and we're going to throw out an extra holiday that you didn't even realize it, but baby Tammuz and his mother and their really, really strange, relationship there is where the actual story of Cupid comes from. Cupid in the baby form is the symbol of what Tammuz is. That's Cupid's origins, the holiday, or the Valentine's Day flying naked baby angel. That's where that comes from. So when he's sent to heaven, Baal wasn't ready for her to go to heaven.
Right.
Okay, that was the thing. So he sends her down in the egg to the Euphrates River, Easter bunny, egg-laying rabbit, and then we're here, and every spring is the first Sunday after the vernal spring equinox. They called it Ishtar's Sunday.
Okay.
And during this service, the priest of Ishtar, and this is where it gets.
Oh man, this is so bad.
This is okay.
Can you imagine going to a mass like this? All right, everybody crowd around. We're gonna watch a priest bang a virgin.
Yeah, or a bunch of them.
A bunch of them.
Now I want you to hear this. Ishtar. What does that sound like to you? It sounds like Easter, and in fact, it is the Anglicization of Ishtar. Easter is the Anglicization of Ishtar. During this service, when they would celebrate this, we're talking about thousands of years ago, the priest would impregnate young virgins on the altar, and they would take the babies that were 3 months old from the previous year, and then they would sacrifice them on the altar to Ishtar. They would take the eggs of Ishtar and dip them in the blood of these young infants after they were sacrificed. And what color is blood, Jess?
Red.
And
sign me up for that.
Yeah, right? This sounds,
Can I go?
This is where coloring Easter eggs, the thing you let your children do, comes from. And the worldwide color of eggs is recognized as red. And even at the White House, when they do their Easter egg thing there, ruby red is the symbol for the color of Easter eggs. That's where that comes from.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, that is where that comes from. And Tammuz becomes honored yearly after he died. And like Jess said, the 40 days there, what we know as Lent, when Jesus went to exile, in what we learned.
Right.
Totally different.
Yeah.
And that's actually...
And he led the Jews through the desert for 40 days, and he split the river and all that stuff.
That's Moses.
Oh, my bad.
You are totally in two different eras here.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the New Testament and the Old Testament.
Nope. My bad.
Yeah, you're a little off there, Jess.
Hey, listen, I celebrate Lent. That's the only thing I celebrate for dietary reasons. Okay, so don't even.
I don't think you paid attention.
Hashtag don't judge
class.
me. Oh
Hashtag.
yeah. You know what? Somebody let me teach a vacation Bible school one year.
Well, that must have been real interesting.
Yeah.
Wonder what those kids are talking about now.
Yeah. And apparently they didn't learn a whole lot.
They learned a lot. It just may not have been the right info. But I'm sure they. But then again, we're all learning the wrong info, most of us. So this is the correction of everything we think we know.
Right.
But yeah, it was true that the 40 days. That's the 40 days and 40 nights Jesus was supposedly in exile. It's a coincidence that Jesus was fasting and praying 40 days. That's all fabricated because Lent, this Lent holiday actually was taking place thousands of years before Christ was even born. So it can't possibly have anything to do with him. And let's say that they said the enemy was the right-hand man of the Father and knew prophecies and created these legends that we follow to skew the truth. So we would not recognize it. So it's a fraud. So call it the work. If you're religious, you call it the work of the devil or evil entities for years to get you to start worshiping something wrong. The point is it's been fabricated for so long that we're believing the wrong facts here. We're misinterpreting it. So I was telling you this earlier, that Semiramis and Baal are all over Egyptian culture and hieroglyphics.
Right. Oh my God. Osiris and...
Yeah, okay, so Semiramis in Egypt is known as Isis, or which we know it as Isis, and Nimrod was known as Osiris. Now, I see a lot of coincidental irony in the fact that the terrorist group calls themselves ISIS. I'm not going to get too much into that.
That's another show.
But just another disturbing fact there. In Phoenicia, these same people, Semiramis and Baal, these same sun gods, as they call them, were known as Ashtoreth and Baal. In Greece, Aphrodite and Adonis were Eros.
My God. I read that and I was like, oh.
I know. And then in Rome, they were known as Venus and Cupid. All the same people in all ancient cultures.
Right.
So it just shows you that they've been worshiping these characters way before Christ was even born,
like
way
2100, I think it's like 2100 BC.
Yeah, it was around that area, and then the couple thousand years right afterwards, during ancient Greece and ancient Rome, they're still worshiping these figures just with different names that we know them as. So,
Let me hold on, because there's like a parallel between this next story I kind of want to tell and the Christianity.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, all right. So, Tammuz dies, and his wife follows him into the underworld. She enters through 7 gates, and she is stripped of her worldly clothing, so she's naked, right? So she's judged, killed, and then hung on display.
Happy story.
But that's the parallel for Jesus Christ being put on display. Yeah. There you go. Okay. Anyway, so in her absence, the earth loses its fertility, crops cease to grow, animals stop reproducing. Okay. So then, after Ishtar had been missing for 3 days, her assistant goes to the other gods for help. Finally, Enki creates 2 creatures who carry the plant of life and the water of life down to the underworld, sprinkling them on Ishtar and Tammuz, resurrecting them, and giving them the power to return to earth as the light of the sun for 6 months. After the 6 months are up, Tammuz returns to the underworld of the dead, remaining there for 6 months, and Ishtar pursues him, prompting the water god to rescue them both. Thus were the cycles of winter death and spring life. But the parallel I kind of wanted to get into was the fact that she went through all of this and ended up on display. Like,
yeah,
Jesus.
and you were right that Tammuz is the same as Semiramis. Same thing.
Right.
You had that right. I was missing it. There's a lot of names in this and a lot of dates and there's so many things that are very easily can get jumbled up. So we're working through it here. There's just so much that goes into this, and one of the symbols that became well known for the symbol of on the head of Isis is the crescent moon holding the sun, and the sun obviously is the symbol of Baal, the sun god, and Ishtar, known as the goddess of the east or sunrise, like Jess was saying, and Baal was known as the god of the west or sunset. This half moon disc has the sun in the crescent, and the main symbol is the sun god. Now, let's take some steps forward to Catholicism. The Catholic Eucharist is the sun. It's a circular. They call it the body of Christ because we used to get it every Sunday at communion. That is actually the sun from that crescent moon sun symbol that was on the head of Isis, or Ishtar. Okay, and Eucharist adoration is held on the first Friday of each month for the purpose of honoring and praying to the Blessed Sacrament. But one of those questions that I always ask, because I'm a huge skeptic when it comes to everything, is you're not supposed to be worshiping anyone but God in religion. I mean, God the Father says this, the Lord says this, Jesus says this same thing. Don't worship, you're only supposed to be worshiping the Father. That's God. So why are you praying to the Eucharist? Why are you praying to these other saints? Why do we do that in Catholicism? It confuses me. I don't understand how that goes underlooked. You know? I mean,
I guess I'm sinning every day by idolizing Britney Spears.
Yes,
yeah.
That's an whole issue in itself. But
yeah.
Oh, Tina, you're supposed to have that thing
I know.
You play.
I was like waiting for like a little.
The hit me, baby, one more time. Where was that coming out? I was waiting for it.
I don't think you guys have done one show where she hasn't dropped Britney Spears in.
I haven't known her for one day where she hasn't dropped Britney Spears into a conversation.
At this point, we better start getting a check from her publishers. That's all I can say.
We should. Yeah, that's true. We're gonna start charging for this. But the object that holds the Eucharist as a crescent moon cradle within the sun is also used in the Roman Catholic Church, and you'll see it if you ever go to church. The rays of the sun are all around it. It comes right out of paganism and sun god worship. That is exactly where this is from. This is 100% true. Then you look at the pine cone. There's a thing called the pine cone staff, also known as the trident. Now, the trident is in a million different areas of history. The pine cone represents fertility. And the largest pine cone structure on Earth is found at the Court of the Pine at the Vatican. The Vatican, the home of the Pope, the Catholicism, that is found at the Vatican. And this represents power and authority of the gods. That's what it represented. But the trident is a satanic and pagan hand gesture as well. So if you take your, I don't want to say this, your pinky finger, if you have an open palm, you take your pinky finger and your ring finger and you fold them down, keep the rest of your hands together and your thumb out, that's a trident. Or you could put your ring finger and your middle finger down and keep the others out. That's a trident.
Like the heavy metal symbol?
The heavy metal symbol, what the Illuminatis do when you see them on TV. That's a pagan symbol for the trident, which is synonymous with the devil. What does the devil carry around? A pitchfork.
Yeah.
Right. So
trident.
Yeah. So these, it's mind blowing the more you get into this. And so then you look at, where do you see the trident? Neptune's trident. Neptune, the god of the seas in ancient Greek history. The devil's pitchfork. Pagan statue of Jupiter was renamed. This is another scary thing. The pagan statue of Jupiter has been renamed Saint Peter. That happened through history. This is true. Holding up the trident symbol, which is the symbol for the devil. And halo, this is another, you see the halo behind any saint picture, you see it on stained glass windows in churches, when you see the big bright circle behind the saints' heads, or you see the ring over the head of angels. I mean, this is everywhere. That is actually the sunburst put behind the heads of gods and saints thousands of years ago, and now we see it everywhere in churches. So it's the trident is in the hand of, so infant Jesus. If you ever see, there's some depictions of infant Jesus just laying on the cradle with his hands out, forming the trident. And that's another thing that's quite disturbing in itself. So there's just all these strange similarities, and when you see that, it's actually not even baby Jesus that you're seeing. You're seeing Tammuz, or aka Cupid, the baby. It's just been switched around a lot.
So we're gonna real quick, because I want to get into how the Christian Easter and how Christianity kind of developed it as part of their religion. Okay, so all right, Christianity, the Easter egg is symbolic of the resurrection of Jesus Christ, and this is how. Okay, so the eggs are dyed red to represent the blood of Jesus. The hard shell of the egg represents the sealed tomb of Christ. Cracking the shell represents Jesus' resurrection from the dead. And here's I know one of the traditions is an Easter egg hunt, but this one is egg rolling, and it's another tradition symbolic of the rolling away of the stone from Jesus Christ's tomb.
See, that one I didn't know.
Well, you know, I still that's a little far fetched. I mean, getting impregnated by some rays of the sun, that's far fetched too. But like taking an Easter egg and like translating it into like the resurrection is kind of like weird.
You just can't. I mean, but when you're approaching this topic in general, you can't look at anything as far fetched because you could look at a lot of the stories in the Bible and say, well, they all seem kind of far fetched.
Yeah.
But it's what the stories are taken from, and what you're saying is actually the basis of Easter right there. The Easter egg is the symbol for fertility.
So when we come back from our break, I know we've got like probably
we have a couple of minutes because we're
going
to do
a couple of minutes because okay, all right, because we have a lot of Easter, or a lot of Krampus and Christmas. There's a lot to cover with that too.
Well, I will throw this out there to kind of bridge us into the Christmas topic right before we leave. But one of the sunbursts that I was talking about as well is usually it's an 8-pointed star, which consists of 2 4-point stars built one inside the other. And now you can see this in tons of places all around the world. There's one over the Buddhist temple in Thailand, on the floor of the monastery in St. Ignatius, and it's within the fertility symbol of the sun rays on the Roman Catholic altar. And not just that, but the biggest one, the court of St. Peter at the Vatican in Rome. And this is also what people started putting on top of Christmas trees, which became the Christmas star. That's where that comes from.
Oh man!
Now we put an angel up when I was growing up. We put angels up.
I had an angel on top of my tree.
But
now it's an LSU helmet. But
well,
no, it's an angel. But
different story.
Up, it was an angel.
Yeah.
Growing up, it was an angel.
Well, yeah, it was an angel, but a lot of people put the star up, the 8-pointed star,
right.
and that's actually a symbol for the pagan sun god, and they even use it on the White House Christmas tree. That's the one they use right there. So it's pretty significant to understand that this is some of the symbols that we see at Christmas time. We're going to start bridging a lot of those when we come back in the second half of the show, because there is a lot.
Oh, that sounds dangerous.
Once again, it's time to cross that line of deception and bring you a reality check.
They're serious. They mean what they're saying.
With your mesmerizing hosts, Jessica Johns and Joey Mirabella.
Welcome back, everybody, to our holiday episode. I know it's mind-blowing and mind-boggling. It's kind of a lot.
A little confusing for some, I'm sure. We're doing the best we can here.
So I'm Jessica John, sitting here with my very knowledgeable co-host, Joey Mirabella, who's going to give us a little history on why December 25th was December 25th, right?
Yeah. So we're going to do We're doing Christmas. Let's explain where the 25th comes from, because I'm going to tell you this: that was not the day that Jesus was born. That's totally untrue. It's a day that was being celebrated thousands of years before Christ was even born. So why the 25th of December? It's the first day of the year when the sun is reborn. We know it as the 21st, but they push it on the 25th to celebrate the birthday of every sun god that was worshipped in history was celebrated on December 25th. This was why? Because Tammuz is the son of God. So why do they put Jesus? Why do we worship Jesus on that day? Well, Jesus we know as the son of God, and they knew Tammuz as the son of the god Baal back at that time. Now, early Christians worshipped on Saturday. Okay, this is right after. This is within the several hundred years after the death of Christ. Early Christians worship on Saturday, but they changed it to Sunday because pagans were already worshiping the sun god on Sunday. And they wanted to compromise to make it easier to worship Christianity by making Jesus' birthday on the same day that they were already used to celebrating. And this happened around the 300s AD to promote the spread of Christianity. But all sun gods' birthdays trace back to Nimrod, and he's also symbolized and depicted with a beard, which is another huge thing. And during this time, the 12 days prior to Christmas, they would celebrate their birthdays with a 12-day feast of Saturnalia, they would call it. And that is where we get the 12 days of Christmas from that we know them as. You know, the Partridge in the Pear Tree song. That's actually where that comes from. The 12-day feast they would use to celebrate the sun gods. Okay. Also called Yule Day, which means the day of the infant, but the infant they're talking about is not Jesus. But we're going to get into a little bit about the origins of Santa Claus and Krampus, and what that is and where that comes from.
Well, Krampus is the shadow of St. Nicholas. Right? Yes.
He's he's one of the. Well, he had his. It's the good and be good, be bad during the holidays.
Okay, well, you know how like when you were a child and your mother always told you that if you were bad, you got coal in your stocking. Well, that's like the Disney version.
Yeah, that's actually the nice version.
That is the nice version because if
from.
you're bad, Krampus is coming for you. Krampus is a horned well, he's just a horned figure who punishes children. Big words, man. Big words. I got issues right here.
Anthropomorphic.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's a big word, Jess. I know. We'll get
words
through
are
it.
hard. Punishes children during the Christmas season who have misbehaved, and this again predates Christianity. Austrians believe that Krampus derives from a pagan supernatural who was assimilated to the Christian devil. Now, Krampus Night is held on December 5th in European countries. The wicked, hairy devil appears on the streets, sometimes alone, but sometimes accompanying St. Nicholas. St. Nicholas only concerns himself with the good children, while Krampus is responsible for the bad. While St. Nick passes out gifts, Krampus passes out coal and rootin bundles. So there's that.
Yeah, and that was derived from Azazel, which means fallen angel. And the reason these Krampus demons, if anybody saw the movie Krampus that came out in December, I mean, it's Hollywooded up, so it's obviously very, very far-fetched, but the actual way they depicted the main Krampus demon with the hooved feet and horns is what they look like. And they still celebrate these holidays. They celebrate the holiday this same way to this day in Germany, Austria, Hungary, even in Italy. They celebrate it to this day with parades of these.
I'm pretty sure we walked around work December 5th and 6th going, hey, happy Krampus night, happy Feast of St. Nicholas.
And everyone's like, what are you talking about?
Happy Krampus night. So Krampus, he appears hairy, usually brown or black, has cloven hooves and horns of a goat. He's got a long pointed tongue that lolls out. He carries chains. One is thought to symbolize the binding of the devil by the Christian church. And they're also accompanied by bells of various sizes. He carries rootin bundles of birch branches. He swats children. He actually swats children with them. The same representation with the birch branches are replaced with a whip. And it has pagan origins. Sometimes appears with a sack or a wash tub strapped to his back. This is actually to cart off children for drawing children and carting them off to hell. That's what that's for, is to take the bad children down to hell. But it also has like witchcraft ties. The birch may have a connection with the initiation rites of certain witch covens, rites which entailed binding and scourging as a form of a mock death.
Pretty disturbing there.
Yeah.
So
be good.
Yeah,
be good. Children.
Be good. And it's interesting where the Krampus actually did come from. Like I said, they were called Azazel. But it was where a goat was cast out into the wilderness, and opposed to being sacrificed for God or for Yahweh, as Hebrews call it, or however you refer to him, he was cast out in the wilderness. Instead of sacrificing, they would put all their sins on this goat and sacrifice it in the and leave it in the wilderness, and that's what became the Krampus demon that follows Saint Nick around, or whatever you want to call him. Now we're going to jump into where Santa Claus comes from.
This is so awesome.
And this is probably the worst of the worst. This is the worst. So Scandinavians worshipped this god called Odin, okay? And he was the god of intoxicating drink and ecstasy, as well as the god of death, the god of wisdom, magic, and occult knowledge, runes, poetry, and war. This is where Santa Claus comes from. The name means the inspired one, and it was portrayed as a tall old man with a long white beard, and he carried a spear or a crozier. And the crozier had a serpent on it. And serpents, as we know, are always symbolic of satanic origins. And in every version of Claus or whatever, he carries his dark helpers, the Krampuses. And he traveled on a white horse that had 8 legs. Now, what does 8 symbolize in Christmas? We know Santa traveled with 8 reindeer, right? The 8 reindeer that pulled his sleigh. It was originally a white horse with 8 legs, okay? And there was no ninth reindeer. Rudolph they created so that they could have a really fun movie with a glowing red nose. But Rudolph was never part of the original. There was no ninth reindeer. But that's where that origin comes from. And the song Jingle Bells comes from Krampus bells that they carried around on them. Yeah, those demons that run around.
This is great.
You could look up videos
I love this.
of them celebrating this holiday this way in Germany. I mean, they'd still do this.
Oh, yeah, to this day.
Yeah, it's pretty disturbing.
I'm pretty sure I saw like pictures like this year. I actually like looked it up. It's like a big deal.
It is.
Like a whole big
it's
parade.
Huge.
Yeah.
They even have the demons come into the house with the kids, and the kids are like scared of them. I mean, it's terrifying.
That's awesome.
But that's how they celebrate.
I know what we're doing this year, Joey. We're gonna dress up like Krampus demons.
We may as
like,
well. We'd be celebrating it more accurately.
I can go knock on every door in my neighborhood because I'm pretty sure all those kids are bad.
pretty. Every kid in this day and age, yeah, definitely. But Christmas, it was according to many authorities, not celebrated in the first centuries of the Christian church, as the Christian usage in general was to celebrate the death of remarkable persons rather than their birth. A feast was established in memory of the birth of the Savior in the 4th century, and in the 5th century, the Western Church ordered it to be celebrated forever on the day of the old Roman feast of the birth of Sol, which means son. In May 11th, 1659, this is really, really interesting. This is from the General Court in Massachusetts Bay Colony. Something no one's going to know this. To the great dishonor of God and offense to others, it is therefore ordered by this court and the authority thereof that whosoever shall be found observing any such days as Christmas or the like, either by forbearing of labor, feasting, or any other way, upon any such account as aforesaid, every such person so offending shall pay for every such offense 5 shilling as a fine to the county. Keep in mind, this is back a while back ago, so shilling, that's currency in the UK, but that is that was a penalty for even celebrating Christmas. And in the United States, it was illegal to celebrate Christmas till the mid 1800s because they knew the real roots of it.
Tell everybody when and who were the first states to celebrate Christmas.
Oh, okay, because I know Jess loves this fact here. Where did I have that? Okay, so the first states to celebrate Christmas were Alabama in 1836 and Louisiana and Arkansas in 1838.
Woo, go Tigers.
Which Jess is very, very excited about.
Louisiana. I'm pretty sure I lived there in a past life.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, no, so that's the origin of where we got Santa Claus from, loosely. Now, this is when he became a symbol for kids. This is where it really changes.
This is my favorite part.
Yeah, this is where it gets kind of bizarre. Now, in the Oxford Dictionary, the devil, known as Satan, Lucifer, or I guess Beelzebub was another one.
Yep, Beelzebub.
Also known as Old Nick, synonymous with the devil in popular rustic speech. Old Nick was actually synonymous with the devil. Okay, so we're gonna say that, let's see, it was illegal till the 1800s. And what else did I have here, Jess?
Coca-Cola.
Yeah, Coca-Cola, which is huge here, and I'm some reason lost over here.
Which began in...
okay, this was it. Wait, what was the year, Jess?
Okay, so first of all, Coca-Cola started in Villa Rica in like the late 1800s with a man named Asa Candler, who
1886. That's what I had.
Hold on.
No, that was the year Coke started.
No, he had the formula.
Yes.
He had the formula. Asa Candler had the formula for Coca-Cola and then sold it to John Pemberton in 1886. And John Pemberton turned it into Coca-Cola, and the first factory of it was in Villa Rica, Georgia, and so on and so on. And that's why, like, the center of Atlanta, where you have like the aquarium, the World of Coke, and all that other stuff, Phillips Arena, Georgia Dome, that's all called Pemberton Place after John Pemberton. So Villa Rica, yep, that's where my ghost tour started. So yeah,
go Jess.
Yeah.
So how does Coca-Cola tie into this? So in 1930, the Coca-Cola designer tried to get people in wintertime to buy their drink. Okay, they took the company colors red and white. They borrowed Santa Claus from the Sinterklaas story, because originally it was known as Sinterklaas, and they changed a few things. They modernized Santa, and then they added reindeer and elves to promote Santa Claus as what we know him today. That started in 1930. Coca-Cola is the one that pushed Santa Claus as a national figure in the States, and to this day, that's what we know it as. So it actually starts from from that. And there's just all these interesting, like, okay, what do we know Santa to say? What does Santa Claus say?
Ho, ho, ho.
Ho, ho, ho. Do you know where that one comes from?
Oh.
This is another interesting one. The History of Hobgoblin by Alan W. Wright. So Robin itself was a medieval nickname for the devil. And Robin Goodfellow, in quotes, appeared in a lot of plays around the 1600s. But his trademark laugh right before he came onto stage was ho, 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 which is what the devil would introduce himself to as coming onto stage. So that's adapted to be what Santa Claus says and to what you all hear children saying and what you see in your happy-go-lucky movies.
You know how we leave cookies and stuff for Santa?
Yes, you have that one?
Well, yeah, sort of. Okay, so we leave cookies and stuff for Santa, but in the same way, in the German culture, like in like the 1700s, well, it came to America in the 1700s with the whole like Easter bunny thing. They would build nests for, like, the children would build nests for like the Easter bunny to come and lay his colorful eggs and stuff, and children would leave out carrots in case the Easter bunny got hungry while he was doing all his hopping. So while Santa's doing all his...
Well, he's doing his hopping.
So while Santa's doing, out giving gifts to all these children, all the good children on the nice list.
Right.
He's probably getting hungry, so milk and cookies.
Well, that's funny you said that with the carrots. So that must be that's the origin of the Easter bunny then.
That's what I said. Like,
there's actually an origin of why the milk and cookies are left out. That's separate from that. And that's actually, because I didn't know about that one, Jess. That's actually interesting. Druid homeowners. Okay, so from Norse legend, the goddess Hertha would appear in a fireplace and brought luck to the home. That's where Santa Claus coming through the chimney and through the fireplace started as well. Now, Druid homeowners would leave a tree consisting of milk and pastries to appease this god from the fireplace on the 25th. That's where us leaving milk and cookies out for Santa Claus came from.
Oh.
Interesting, huh?
It's so weird.
I never left carrot. I don't know. Did we leave carrots out for the Easter Bunny when I was a kid? I can't even remember.
I never left carrots out for the Easter Bunny, nor did I ever build a nest for the Easter Bunny to come lay his colorful eggs.
I don't associate nests with bunnies.
But I think that's why, like, in those Easter baskets, they have all that, like, paper and crap, like, everywhere all in it, to, like, make it look like a little nest with the Easter eggs and stuff in it.
Yeah, the Easter basket. Yep, that makes sense. That's where the Easter basket is coming from. It looks like a nest.
Maybe I'll leave out...
Without candy in it.
See, but right now, if I leave out carrots, my dogs will eat it.
There you go. That's why you lock them up only on Easter.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's some pretty sketchy roots to these holidays. And again, this is all true. You can go to bows of holly were originally clippings of evergreen shrubs. When you say deck the halls with bows of holly. Odin was also a symbol of the eternal fir tree, which became our Christmas tree. And this took the place of the obelisk, which was also a symbol of the pagan sun god. And you see obelisks everywhere. Everywhere. They have one in Washington. They have one in Vatican Circle. They have Vatican Square. They have them in Egypt.
Yep.
That's originally worshiping the sun god. That's what it was for, specifically. And you know what that actually symbolizes?
No.
It's supposed to be... It means they say it meant how do they have it here? It's got this. It has a lot of this stuff has some really sexual roots to it. Okay, but it means it means Baal's shaft. That's what it means.
Oh,
and
my God.
An organ of reproduction placed in the center of the solar wheel originally. That's what it originally meant. That's what it's supposed to be a symbol of.
You know what was funny is, like, when you were talking about Tammuz, like, I guess, like, banging his mom or whatever. But, like, here's the thing is, like, I'm pretty sure, like, we don't do that here. No, it made me think about, like ancient Greece. They pretty much just slept with each other. Like, it didn't matter, if they were brother and sister or their family. Like, they all just kind of
that, and the gods were always sleeping with people.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a very... very slutty.
You do know,
time.
like, the visit of Saint Nick also goes back to shaman times when they talk about the mushrooms. The mushrooms was a symbolism of shamanism, and shamanism, they said, basically was like the reindeer were the spirits coming to visit, and they were given shaman mushrooms. Mushrooms are the red and white, which symbolizes the feelings, the imagery of Christmas as well, including Rudolph's red nose.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
a lot of religions tie back into all of them all together. But yeah, you can go all the way back to shamanism.
Crazy.
See,
I did not know that one either. Yeah, it means there's just so many.
well, it's like Papa John's coming to visit with the
right without
with
pizza
scooping
every
us.
time. But it's like,
I
if
mean,
anybody
it's crazy. It's just there's
jumps
just
on the
so
internet,
much. Like, yeah,
I guarantee you'll start looking this stuff up and you'll find things out that we didn't even find out. It's been so fabricated and most people don't know anything about this, but this is the truth. The mistletoe is interesting.
Oh, good. Oh,
Well, we know it as what if you're standing under a mistletoe, you have to kiss someone, right? If they're under
Right.
there with you. Okay, a little bit different back in the day. The Celts offered it to gods in prayer. It was said to heal wounds and increase fertility, of course. Everything's about fertility, and to ward off evil spirits. During the Feast of Saturnalia, during those 12 days, they would have drunken orgies under these mistletoes because it symbolized fertility. That's where it came from. That's
oh my God.
clearly
So
not what
everyone-
we're doing these
So
days.
basically, all these holidays are rooted in sex.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Everything is.
Everything is rooted
Including
in sex.
Starbucks coffee, but that's another
Everything-
episode.
Oh my
Well,
God.
that goes back to the Druids because the Druids were very sexual creatures in nature. People in nature.
We're just destroying childhoods left and right.
We're just exposing the truth.
And we're exposing-
It's a reality check. This reality checked the hell out of me when I found it all out.
This is like the first time in like 8 weeks that we haven't had to blame Manitowoc for anything.
They may have some roots. You never know. We never
Oh
know.
man,
They're holding on to
like-
all the mushrooms.
There it is.
They are.
The mushrooms.
I swear to God, I told Joey I'm gonna get a T-shirt made or a tank top made that says "Blame Manitowoc."
Yes, you should, because they're responsible for everything terrible, apparently, which we're learning slowly.
Do we have a no?
No. Aaron's got a great question in chat, but we can't go there.
Why?
What's the
This
question?
reality check. Why not?
All right.
It'll be a reality
I'll
check
do
for
it.
us.
Let's do it.
All
It's
right.
the end of the show. It's
Okay.
night. The kids are in bed.
Okay. All right.
They
Maybe.
should be in bed. They shouldn't even be
Do you
listening
know where your
this
children
episode.
are? It's 9:55.
All right, I'm going to put in a disclaimer right now. This is a question from Aaron in chat. Aaron, you can send the hate mail to him. He has a Monday night show over here at the network. But Aaron wants to know then, with all this talk about sex and how this relates to all these different holidays, where do blowjobs come from?
It just
my old roommate would be able to answer that question.
It just seemed like the right thing to do at certain points. I guess I don't know. Never looked into that.
Can we get Jenna Jameson on the line?
No, that's because you know what it is? I'll tell you what it is. It's
Oh.
because everybody had all these religions together and somebody just said, this just sucks.
This blows. No. What they
This
said was this blows.
Oh my God.
This just blows. You know what?
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, you guys just went there.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Again. Yeah. Okay.
So, do I maybe?
How do you go from there? Like, what's the?
I don't know.
You know.
Like we're talking about all this, and I
It's-
feel a little bit sacrilegious bringing.
Well, hey, we asked
anything
for
into
it.
this,
but
we
it's
did, of
true.
course.
Like, but
It's all
no,
true.
it's true. Like, everything's rooted in sex, and yet, my friend Crystal did yell at me for destroying her childhood after we went to Britney Spears the other night.
That's 2 times.
Sorry, we went a couple weeks ago, and we were walking through Tropicana, and we came to a Starbucks, and I'm like, "Hey, Crystal, what? Look at that Starbucks sign. What does that look like to you?" And I'm like, "Look, it's a mermaid holding her legs." And she's like, "Oh my God!" And like 3 days later, she's still mad about it.
Why?
Like she's still tagging me on Facebook, like, "Thanks a lot, Jessica."
That's.
We can actually thank our busser at Chayo for that one because. Or I think you told me too, but
Which
he also
one?
told me Donovan also said something to me a while ago about the Starbucks thing, and then I went.
Oh
to
yeah,
about
yeah.
It.
No, I told you
So-
that originally when I pointed out.
Yeah, and then he went,
The
into it, and
the mermaid.
it's crazy. Like everything,
The Starbucks mermaid, for anybody wondering, is not a mermaid. It's actually a deity holding her legs open, symbolizing, again, sexuality. Because sex sells, and we're addicted to coffee.
and everything
So-
is. I went
Coffee.
once again,
Sorry, just
like
coffee.
everything.
If I could just put a real quick disclaimer in though, those people that are listening at Easter, don't buy your kids a bunny. Please don't buy your kids a
No.
bunny or a little chick.
Or a bird that lays eggs.
no, a little bird that lays eggs because it's turned into a bunny. But yeah, like no, yeah,
Yeah.
don't. It's not. Yeah, the whole Easter bunny thing. Nope. I mean, it's like it's also like a goddess. It's a pagan. It's a pagan goddess also for fertility. So
Well, we have like 30 seconds left. but I was going to throw it out there. If anybody's wondering, to look at Bible's Scripture, when was Christ actually born? Because there's really no known dates of that. If you look through the Bible and you use some of the hints that are around there, it's during the Feast of the Tabernacles between September 27th and October 1st. That's actually around the real time. I know it's controversial to hear, but that's where it really comes from. To throw some truth out there to where it really came from, even though we destroyed everybody's religious hopes and
oh
beliefs.
Oh my God! I'm pretty sure we scarred some people for life. Don't ever show your children this episode. That's like telling somebody that's like telling a child that Santa Claus isn't real.
Even worse, explain to him who Santa Claus really is.
Right?
So, but thanks, we really appreciate everybody tuning in. This was a lot to swallow on this episode. You know that.
He said a lot to swallow after she made the blowjob comment.
Pun intended for our show on sexuality, apparently, in religion.
Oh my God, he went there.
But join us next week, folks.
I don't even think he meant to do that.
Thank you very much. We will see you next week, folks. Thank you for tuning in.
Stand by.
You've been listening to Reality Check, the one show that doesn't prepackage and spin the truth as propaganda. Hosted by Jessica Johns and Joey Mirabella.
I see incredible potential here.